Hello and welcome to Student Connections. I'm Cody Carnahan and joining me today is organ recipient Kyle Bailey. Thanks for coming in, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks.
When was your first organ transplant and what organ was it?
I went on Michigan's transplant list in 2010, and in 2011, June 21st, I received a double lung transplant.
Interesting. How many organ transplants have you had in total and what were they?
I am Michigan's only quadruple organ transplant recipient. So 6.5 years ago, I received double lungs, and less than 22 months ago, I received liver and a kidney the same day.
Wow. In an attempt to raise awareness about the importance of organ donations, Kyle has decided to ride his bike from Ann Arbor, Michigan to Orlando, Florida in the end of April. What made you come up with the idea?
I was inspired by a young gentleman from Canada who had cancer, and I believe it was in the early 80s. He had tried to run across Canada and to bring awareness for cancer, and unfortunately he didn't make it all the way and then had to stop, and unfortunately his life was deceased a couple of months after, but he's well known, and it helped a lot for the community for cancer awareness in Canada. And now I know that there's 117,000 people plus in the United States that are waiting for an organ today. So I've had the unfortunate opportunity to, 1, suffer and be on oxygen, 2, suffer from liver cirrhosis, and 3, be on dialysis for my kidney. So I would like to bring awareness for the nation, for those people, so they can get a chance like I've had. So I would like to promote Gift of Life America, Gift of Life Michigan, and show how important University of Michigan is, as well as how great of a facility it is, and I'm excited to do it.
Wow. Do you think about making a rally or something of the sort other than this bike ride?
This bike ride's for charity now. Now I am competitive, so I will be going at a decent pace between the major cities, but the route that I have chosen through the major cities, I will be taking it a little slower and hopefully meeting up with the mayors of each city and kind of having like a parade. With that being said, I'm hoping that people who feel inspired or people who just want to ride, you know, you're more than welcome to start with me at the beginning and ride for a mile. You can start with me in Charlotte if you like. If you want to finish with me, I don't care. So I don't know if I'm anticipating 1,000 people in Ann Arbor or by myself in the middle of the road, but I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Sounds interesting. With the ride scheduled for the end of April, how long are you expecting it to take and how much progress will you hope to make each day?
So I'm leaving April 27th, and I would like to get to Toledo the first day, which is only 60 miles. It'll be an easier day, seeming because of the celebration and hopefully the big kickoff with Ann Arbor and Detroit Metro Newses. But after that, I plan on doing anywhere from 80 miles to 120 miles a day.
Wow. Do you have a personal trainer to help you get ready for this big event, or have you just been biking on your own every day? I
do. I have 2 personal trainers, one main one for fitness, nutrition, and I have been bicycling for about 7 weeks now. I'm not a bicyclist. Once I got my driver's license at 16, I really didn't think I would need a bicycle anymore. So it's been a learning process again to jump back on a bike. But I'm trying to get my overall fitness back up since my liver and kidney transplant was so hard on my body. Just getting back to a physical peak of what I'd want. But I know within the last 6 weeks of training that I feel at almost 33 years old, the best I've ever felt in my life. So I still have 5 months of training, and then we'll do this bike ride. So I'm looking forward to it.
Wow. Who else will be accompanying you on the trip, and where will you stay each night?
So on the trip, I will have a vehicle following me for spare parts, for emergency use, or in case they need to be ahead of me or behind me following. I'm not quite sure exactly who yet. There's been a couple of volunteers. But I also do know that I do plan on staying in hopefully a hotel every night. I don't really care. I will not be sleeping in a tent or on the side of the road after a 100-mile bike ride, or 100-mile-a-day bike ride for, I don't know, I'm planning it to be less than 2 weeks.
Wow. Have you already gotten your bike ready, or do you even have it?
I do not have a bike yet. Now, I do have a practice bike that I'm working with that's about 25 pounds. And the bike that I plan on riding with will be between 13 to 15 pounds. I need a lighter bike to get through the mountains of lower Ohio, Virginia, West Virginia, and upper North Carolina, seeming that's going to be quite a trek going through the Appalachian Mountains. But I do have the major bike companies all aware of what I'm doing, and they're all currently in the process of seeing what they can offer me for this trip.
Wow, that's pretty cool. We've previously heard you've done a run across the state of Michigan. Was it for the same reason?
Yes. So I was born in Florida and I was raised in Port Huron, Michigan. But I went down to Myrtle Beach for school and for my PGA. And at that time, I had gotten sick so severely that I had to be put on oxygen and be put in the hospital for, I believe it was 33 straight days of being by myself down in Charleston, South Carolina. And one of the leading doctors in the nation approached me and sat down and had said that he would love to do the surgery and put me on the list in South Carolina because South Carolina's donor rate was phenomenal. Unfortunately, we have a lot of bike weeks in South Carolina as far as crotch rocket and Harleys. And so those are no helmet law, and obviously with vehicle accidents, the donor rate was pretty good. So there was a good chance I could get a great offer. But he said I should come back to Michigan because the facility was top 10 in the United States, as well as my family was back in Michigan. And we didn't know how much time I had. So the downside to coming back to Michigan was that they were bottom 15 in the United States as far as donor rates, at 23% registered adults or drivers, which was pretty pathetic. And so me coming back up to Michigan was a chance I had to take. And I took the chance because my family was up here, and I didn't know if it'd be my last few months seeing them. Given on the organ, the wait list for an organ can be sometimes years, and people don't have years. And so I was fortunate to get a set of lungs from a gentleman my age, my blood type, my size, from Sterling Heights after 9 months of being on the wait list. And I was out of the hospital in 11 days after a double lung transplant and back feeling phenomenal. And so I made it a mission that year to promote organ donation awareness for Michigan. And so I had built up and had trained to run across the state of Michigan, which I did, I believe it was 14 months after my lung transplant. I ran from Lexington to Muskegon in, I believe it was 4 days. So that's a 212-mile trek. Because of MLive and because of the local newspapers, that was a huge success for Michigan. And we had a record-setting donor registry amount the following month because of my run, and I was given an award for it. And now, being 2017, after being 23% in 2010 for Michigan, Michigan's now rate has 62% registered donors, and for drivers and adults, which is great. And so I'm pushing for this whole nation to be in the 60s to 70s%, because no one should have to wait to basically die. It is literally suffering to sit there on oxygen or to be poked with a needle once a week for your liver, for cirrhosis of the liver. And kidney dialysis is absolutely the worst thing that you could go through. So that's my inspiration for that.
Wow, very inspirational. Do you expect the same success with the bike ride that you had with the run?
I do, because Gift of Life America, and as well as about 15 states right now, have reached out to me, and they're following this story, all the way from Connecticut to California. I've also had the honor to be contacted with a couple of outside countries of the U.S. who have been informed of my doing to promote organ donation awareness. So I expect this to be not only a national level, but a global level.
Wow, countries outside the U.S., that's amazing. Do you have any company sponsors, or are you planning to get any?
I do have sponsors. I have about 10 sponsors lined up right now. They will be announced, and I am always taking more sponsors, obviously. I look at it as it's going to a great cause. It's a win-win for every person who's in this benefit, and the money that I do not use to spend and try and keep the cost low, I will be giving it to a couple of families who are in need for medical procedures. You know, families that have you know, children with severe cases, or anything to that doing. Hits real close to the home. So.
Wow. Will the public be able to track you along your long journey?
Yes. We are working right now on making a web page, and the event is called Recycle Life. I'm not sure what the web page exactly will be, but you will be able to follow me live track where I'm at all times, and that will hopefully be inspiring to others who, let's say I'm going through Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. If you were following my story the last 5 months and you would like to bicycle ride with me and meet up with me, you'll know exactly where I'm at and bicycle ride for a day or two. I have heard people already saying they'll be joining me in the middle of my route, which is great. And then I'm on the Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram, all under Recycle Life. So you will be able to follow me. I'm hoping that during my ride, if you guys have questions, or if the public or somebody from Washington State wants to send me a question, I'm hoping I can answer it, and just bring awareness to everybody. And hopefully, you know, it's unfortunate that we have all these health issues and diseases and cancers in America, and everybody has a family or somebody, a loved one that is affected by, you know, whether it's breast cancer or cystic fibrosis or any kind of disease. But Gift of Life, you're able to be, can be an organ donor, and I don't see why no one should be. I'm obviously Michigan's only quadruple organ transplant recipient, and I'm still a donor. I have, you know, body parts on me that can still be donated that are in great use. So that's why I'm pushing this ride to show you that what organ donation does, how much it's changed my life, and to prove I'm just as good as everybody else. This is not a disability. This is not a pity case. This is not, I'm going to give it just as much as the next guy. And I hope it's a great success.
I'm sure it will be. After the ride, do you plan on doing any public speaking to big groups of people or schools or something?
Yes. So as well as my normal job, I do work for the Gift of Life as a volunteer and a speaker. So I have been going around the state and speaking, but I do have set up to go to different states before my ride and speak to big companies. And so I could only imagine that after the ride, how many more people would like me to speak. And I would love to speak to promote this and to, you know, someday I would hope, and my ultimate goal is that in 10 years, if someone needs an organ transplant, they're only waiting weeks and not years.
We can all only hope that. Do you plan on doing any other events in the future to raise awareness for organ transplants and organ donations?
Yes, this is definitely not the first or the last. If I can keep it going, I do know that before I do this ride, I will be running the Renaissance building in Detroit as far as a stair climb for lung cancer. I also will be running a half marathon for Cystic Fibrosis Foundation in March. And then the bike ride in April. And then I do, hopefully this won't be the biggest event. I could see myself doing some extreme stuff in the future. And I hope to be the national spokesperson and to set an example of how much good an organ donation can do.
It certainly can do much good. If any of our viewers would like to get involved with this, how would they be able to contact you?
So you, through locally, obviously, you can just ask about me, and then generally, I mean, it's being well known that if you don't know me around here already from the St. Clair area, but they can reach me through the Facebook, the Snapchat, the Instagram, and all that social media. And I will take any help. I will take any suggestions, any advice. I'm not perfect, and this is a learning experience for me. But I'm an open book, so come at me if you have any questions. If you have any questions about anything, I'm always here.
Okay. Thanks for coming in today, Kyle.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in, Kyle, and we wish you the best luck, and thank you for tuning in to M6 Student Connections, your hometown station.